each subsequent movie, they perfect the techniques of fur and environment and everything. The first movie was very challenging for the studio. Not only was it their first film, but what we were asking, we were telling a story with animals, furred animals in an exterior environment, in a natural environment, and all those things really hadn't been done so much. So that was very challenging to them. But they rose to the challenge, and they did it quite miraculously. But if you look at the first feature and our feature, you can see it was much more simplistic. The styles were simplistic. I think Steve can speak to that far more.
Absolutely. Even to camera work. I remember on the first Ice Age, and I was only there observing the very end of it, there was a limitation to how many shots the camera could actually move. It was like a 60% needed to be locked off cameras, which meant that you only had to render the background for one frame. And now we're in a world where I think the industry in general, the game has gone much further. Mm-hmm. And I think our storytelling is such where we want the audience to participate in the movement of the camera and to be immersed into that action. So thankfully, nobody gave us that limitation as we started this picture.
But I think to your point, the biggest thing, the most important thing really is character and story and environments. It all supposed to look great, and it has to look great, but if you don't have characters that are compelling and relatable and a story that really is worth telling, then it doesn't matter how beautiful your movie looks. So as far as the technical aspects go, you're right, they have changed, but our characters, to speak to the characters, hopefully have stayed truthful to themselves.
Lori and Michael Berg worked on the initial story, and it was a great first draft. As Michael and I first looked at the story, we sat down and we said, look, we're in a fourth version of Ice Age stories. What are we going to do? And together we put our heads together and said, what are we going to do with this film that makes it special and unique? All of the previous ones had done that. And so together we talked about wanting to tell the story in a more epic fashion with more scale, to pay attention to the camera work and make it a 3D experience that was really big and fun. So it was important for us to be on the same page at the very beginning with kind of what our cornerstones would be for the film. And then as we work on the movie, in the editorial process, story process, Mike and I are together on all of those reviews. It's only when we get to the latter part of production where we've got close to 400 people working on the movie where now we can divide and conquer a little bit. Mike has been an animator on all of the Ice Age movies, comes from an animation background. I come from an art direction background. So we had a very natural way of kind of divvying up the work when things got very busy. But really, with Lori's experience on this franchise, the characters, the heart and soul of what Ice Age is all about, it's really together in editorial and in that story process where we cement what the story is going to be and how it's going to be told. And the reason that we love working in animation, it really is for characters like Scrat. It's very simple concept. He wants that nut, and where can we take him, and how crazy can we get with him kind of getting in his own way? And that's where the humor and the fun comes in. But the challenge is not to repeat yourself. We've had a variety of Scrat adventures in the past, and we made it challenging on ourselves. We developed the very opening of the movie, and we had decided early on that we wanted Scrat to be integral to the story. And we made this big, adventure down to the center of the earth, and it was huge. And as we were working on the movie, we're scratching our heads going, okay, well, now when we get to the end of the film, we have to top that, or we need to, pay it off at an equal level. And so that was one of the great challenges. And thanks to the story team at Blue Sky and the animators who really bring Scrat to life, I feel like we have some really fun and entertaining bits for Scrat and kind of continuing his legacy.